Hello and welcome back. I'm Carmen. I'm back here in my kitchen for another episode of Cooking with Carmen. Thanks for joining for the fourth live episode. As part of our mission to heal hunger, Operation Food Search teaches families how to cook delicious foods on a budget. Tomorrow is Give STL Day, so it's a terrific time to support our work as we have a $10,000 matching gift. So any amount you give is doubled. So just go to givestlday.org/Operation Food Search. You can find out how to donate on Give STL Day tomorrow. So now that spring weather is officially here and plants are starting to grow in our area, today's presentation is all about enjoying eating with the seasons. Buying produce in season has tons of health benefits and just general benefits, including taste, nutrition, and cost. So I have a guest chef with me today, and she'll be whipping up a chickpea pasta salad and a frozen yogurt parfait. Both of these recipes are packed full of produce that can be grown locally here in the spring and in the summer. On site at Operation Food Search, we have a little garden that was planted just this past week. We love introducing fresh herbs during our kids' cooking classes. For new gardeners, starting with growing herbs in a flower pot is a simple way to add bright and fresh flavors to your home cooking. So like here at my house, I have mint, basil, and thyme growing in a couple little pots on my deck at home. A lot of kids love to get a little dirty. I think we all know that. So it'd be a great way to have them help you. So have them plant a little herb garden and they can help you water it throughout the summer. And then you can enjoy fresh herbs or produce grown right out of your own backyard. And you really can't get any more local than that. So before I introduce our guest today, I want to give a little shout out to one of our viewers. Barbara shared that she made the sweet potato tacos last week. And they sure look delicious. Thank you for sharing with us, and please comment below or send us your picture if you made any of the recipes featured in the show. So now let me introduce our guest chef today. Her name's Lindsey. Lindsey has been on the nutrition education team for 2 years, and she's experienced in teaching our kids' cooking classes and leading interactive demonstrations. With a degree in exercise science and health and wellness, and 2 years serving as a community health Peace Corps volunteer in Fiji, Lindsey is a wonderful addition to our team, and I'm very excited to have her on the show today. Welcome, Lindsey.
Hey guys, and thanks for the introduction, Carmen. I'm happy to be here with you today to dive into the topic of seasonality. So before I get started on our recipes, I'd love to talk a little bit about the benefits of eating in season. So the first benefit of eating in season is the quality. So when you eat produce, which is fruits and vegetables, in season, you're going to have a higher quality, which means it's going to taste better and it's going to be more nutrient dense. So if you can take a minute to think about a strawberry. Think about a strawberry you would buy in December versus a strawberry you would buy in July. The taste is going to be a lot better over the summer. It's probably going to last longer in your fridge. And you might even notice some differences in appearance when you're purchasing them. Another part of buying in season is supply and demand. So this is when we're talking about our wallet and when we're buying on a budget. So during the summer months, there is a higher supply of produce, which means there is going to be a lower cost to it. So think again about those strawberries you bought in December, probably going to be costing $5 or $6 versus the strawberries that you're buying over the summer, which may only cost $1 or $2. So it's really good bang for your buck. And the last benefit of eating in season I want to discuss right now is the environment. So when we buy in season, we're helping support the environment because, for one, we're most likely buying local. So the produce is traveling a shorter distance, and it's also going to be fresher for the consumers like you. So more on seasonality later. Let's get started on our recipes. So today I have a chickpea pasta salad and parfait pops. Those are both great recipes to have as we transition from late spring to early summer. Both recipes, you can use a lot of ingredients you have on hand already at home. They're really easy to make, perfect grab and go snacks or breakfast, perfect for a hot summer day.
I cannot wait for summer, and these sound like a delightful summer recipe, and I love pasta salad. So can you tell us why you chose the pasta salad recipe to share with us today?
Of course. One of my family's favorite recipes is a pasta salad that we enjoy all year round. One of the things I love about it is how versatile it is when incorporating seasonal produce. Especially during the late spring, early summer, there's a wide variety of produce that is being harvested at peak ripeness. So two of the vegetables I chose today are tomatoes and cucumbers, which are just starting to be harvested around May. And another aspect I love about this pasta salad is the chickpeas. Chickpeas are a great high quality plant-based protein. They're high in fiber to help with digestion. They even include a lot of beneficial minerals such as iron, zinc, phosphorus, manganese, all which help boost your bone, skin, and hair, in addition to maintaining your blood pressure and reducing inflammation.
That really sounds like summer in a bowl. Like if you think of tomatoes and cucumbers, the addition of the chickpeas. I'm really excited to see it come together, and I'm ready to watch you whip it up.
All right, well, thanks, Carmen. So I'm going to start with our chickpea pasta salad. I love this recipe as well because it is so quick and easy from start to finish. It only takes about 20 to 25 minutes, and it's limited cooking. So with our ingredients here today, we're going to have 1 box of whole grain pasta. You can choose from like penne, rotini, shell, elbow, whatever pasta you have on hand or whatever your favorite one is. We also have a can of chickpeas, about 3 cups of cherry tomatoes or any type of tomato you have. I also put on the ingredient list that you can use diced tomatoes. Just make sure that you're going to drain and rinse them so you don't have all that excess liquid. We also have about 1/2 cup of onion, and then if you have a cucumber or even like a bell pepper, you can toss that in as well. About 1 cup of cheese. You can choose whatever kind you want. Just make sure it's small, like cubed or shredded. And then for our dressing, we're going to have 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and then a mixture of spices, about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of basil, and 1/8 teaspoon of garlic powder. So those are our ingredients. And to get you started on your recipe, the first thing you're going to do is cook your pasta. Now, I would recommend that you cook your pasta following the package directions, as a lot of them have different cooking times. A lot of times, like penne might cook a little longer than something like a spaghetti noodle. So follow those directions when cooking your pasta. So once your pasta is cooking, you can go ahead and get started on your other ingredients. So the first thing you're going to want to do with your produce is, of course, wash your produce. Just under cold running water is fine. And then you're going to go ahead and dice up your vegetables. So I already diced up, as you can see, I have my tomatoes, cucumbers, and onions already diced up and ready. So I set them off to the side in a bowl. So once you're finished with your vegetables, you can go ahead and start on your cheese. So depending on what kind of cheese you have, you may have to shred it, cube it, or crumble it. Today I chose some mozzarella, so I have just cubed it into small little pieces so it can be dumped right into the pasta salad as well. And once you're finished with that cheese, you'll go ahead and drain and rinse your chickpeas as well, which I have right here. Once you're finished with all the prepping for that stuff, your pasta is probably going to be finished, as your pasta generally takes about 8 to 10 minutes. You should be able to have all of that completed. And then we're going to get started on putting our pasta salad together. So as soon as your pasta is done cooking, you need to take it off the heat right away and drain it. And not only do you need to drain it, but run it under cold running water. This is going to help prevent it from getting mushy, so it'll stop the cooking process. And it also helps loosen up the pasta so that it's not all sticking together when you're actually making your pasta salad. So here I have my pasta. I've already cooked it and drained it and rinsed it off. So now it's ready to go. I have it. So just go ahead and pour it in a large mixing bowl. And then you are going to add in your other ingredients. So I have my vegetables here that I'm going to dump in. I need a pretty large bowl. Mine's going to be pretty full, I think. All right, so I've got my vegetables in there. I'm going to go ahead and dump in my chickpeas as well, in addition to my cubed cheese. All right, so we've got all those there together. And then I'm going to get started on our dressing. So in the recipe, I have that you can either use a glass jar or even a bowl with a whisk. I prefer a glass jar, less cleanup, and sometimes if you have kids at home, it'll be fun for them to like shake up the jar. So I've already measured the spices in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and add the olive oil and the lemon juice. So as I'm making this dressing, I want to talk a little bit about something called a recipe framework. So a recipe framework is pretty much like a basic sample of a recipe. So instead of having everything like specific ingredients, you can build your own recipe. So for this recipe framework pasta salad, it would be 8 cups of cooked pasta, 4 cups of diced vegetables, of anything you can choose, specifically like summer produce or whatever's in season, 2 cups of protein. So like here today, we're using chickpeas. You could also use any other type of bean. And also if you maybe have like canned chicken or other chicken on hand, if you wanted to use an animal-based protein, as well as the 1/4 cup of dressing, which is what I've done here. Generally, your dressing is going to be about half oil, half acid. So the acid I use today is lemon juice. You could also use something like a balsamic vinegar to mix it in, because that acid and oil kind of gives like a good balance, and whatever seasoning you like. Whether it's salt and pepper, or you like to add additional seasoning like the basil and garlic powder we have today. So once this is done, I'm just going to go ahead and pour it right over our pasta salad. And then I'm going to give it a good mix, and we'll be all done. So you can enjoy this pasta salad right away. If you have like a barbecue to go to over the summer, you can even just have it for like a lunch or a snack. It's good fresh, and you could probably keep it in the fridge for a couple of days before it gets bad. You just got to be careful because the pasta will get a little mushy, and with all the vegetables, it could create some extra liquid. So definitely preferred fresh. And there you have it.
That looks awesome. And that salad dressing sounds like something I love making at home. So using it in the jar instead of like a bowl, because if you make too much, you can just throw it in the fridge and keep it in that jar. So then it's kind of like the fridge container as well as the mixing container. So if I was making this recipe, I think I would add in like some broccoli and some bell peppers into my pasta salad. Can you share some ideas of what other seasonal vegetables you can add?
Yeah, definitely. So there's so much to choose from when it comes to produce during the summer months. So there's like an unlimited amount of options. Besides the cucumbers and tomatoes I added and the things you mentioned, you could even try things like shredded Brussels sprouts, summer squash, spinach, peas, carrots. The options are really limitless over the summer. As you can see on this harvest chart we have here, from the months to June to October, there are plenty of seasonal fruits and vegetables to choose from in the state of Missouri. Most of the summer produce is not actually going to hit peak ripeness until about mid to late June, and that's when the higher temperatures are going to start coming. So sometimes if produce is harvested in May, that generally isn't ready until June, it might end up tasting a little bitter. It might be a little bit tasteless in the month of May. You may also notice on this harvest chart that there are limited options during the winter months. And despite this lack of variety during the winter months, I hope that does not deter you from still eating your fruits and vegetables during the winter. But try opting for frozen and canned instead of trying to find produce that's out of season during the winter months. The reason you want to choose frozen and canned fruits and vegetables is because they have the same nutrients as the fresh produce that's in season. And this is because they're harvested at peak ripeness, mostly over the summer, and the nutrients are preserved during the canning and freezing process, which Carmen will talk about a little bit later. So now we're going to go ahead and get started on our Parfait pops. This is our second recipe. It's pretty fun to make over the summer, enjoy on a hot summer day. So for this recipe, it's basically a spin-off of our regular Parfait, except we're going to be putting it into a mold or a cup and putting it in the freezer overnight for a quick snack or breakfast to enjoy.
That sounds really refreshing. I love frozen yogurt. And since we're talking about seasonality, can you tell us what kind of fruits are in season that you can add to this Parfait?
Sure. So a typical parfait for me would generally consist of some type of berry, Greek yogurt, and topping it with some granola. I always have berries on hand during the summer because they're in season. But you could also choose from things like cherries and pineapple. Those are good between the months of May and July, or even things like peaches, nectarines, and cantaloupe would be really good from June to September when they're in season. I'm actually going to be using a raspberry compote today. Compote is pretty much like a quick preserve. You cook it on the stove with a little bit of honey or sugar and some lemon, and you kind of let that cook for a little bit. It turns into almost like a little jam. I'm using that today because berries in May are still not quite ripe, so my raspberries that I have are a little bit tart, and I wanted to add a little bit of sweetness to my parfait pop. You can also think about, if you're like me and you enjoy fruit over the wintertime, you can also think about buying your fruit in the summer and freezing it to have on hand for things like smoothies and fruit crisp and even parfait pops to enjoy like I'm making today. So we're going to go ahead and get started on our parfait pops. You're going to need about 3 cups of berries. I did a compote, so it cooked down a little bit. You're going to use about a cup of Greek yogurt. If you don't have Greek yogurt and you have regular, that's fine too. You'll probably just want to do a cup plus a quarter of a cup of the Greek yogurt or the plain yogurt, because with the Greek yogurt, we're going to be adding about a quarter cup of milk to help thin it out a little bit, because Greek yogurt is generally pretty thick. We're also going to use a cup of granola divided up, as well as a little bit of honey to add some sweetness. If you didn't have honey, but you had some flavored yogurt, you can also add that in. As Greek yogurt doesn't have too much flavor, the honey or the flavored yogurt is going to give a little bit of sweetness without adding all that extra sugar in. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. So I have my Greek yogurt, and I'm going to add in the milk to thin it out a little bit. And then I'm also going to add in some honey. So you're kind of just going to mix this together until the yogurt is about the same consistency as a regular yogurt. So you're going to want to be able to pour it, but still be pretty thick. So once you have that all mixed together, you're going to get your granola ready. So with the granola, if you just dump the granola in the parfait, it is probably not going to freeze very well. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your granola in a bowl. I measured out 3/4 cup of granola, and I'm just going to take a little bit of this yogurt that I mixed, and I'm going to dump it in the granola. And this yogurt is going to kind of act like a glue. So the yogurt is going to help the granola to stick inside the parfait pop a little bit better. Looks like I need a little bit more yogurt. So I'm going to mix that all together, and then I'll be all ready to go ahead and start making my parfait pop. So you have a couple options here. What I'm going to do today is going to be layering my parfait pop. You can also just go ahead and dump all your ingredients into one bowl and pour them directly into your mold. But for now, I'm going to be doing some layering. So here I have just clear plastic cups. You probably already have these at home if you don't have a popsicle mold, which a lot of people don't. So clear plastic cups, and I'm actually going to be using some plastic spoons as the popsicle stick because I don't have any popsicle sticks on hand either. So pretty simple. I'm just going to start layering yogurt, granola, and the raspberry. I'm probably just going to do one of these to make it a little easier. So I've got some yogurt in there. I'm adding in a little bit of granola. And then I've got my raspberry compote that I'm going to add to it. I'm just going to do a couple of layers to give it a nice look to it.
This looks like something that you can get the kids in the kitchen too and have them kind of make their own layers and choose their own fruits.
Yeah, definitely. Billy loves popsicles, so we will definitely be making these this summer.
Yeah, I'll have to try that with my nieces. My son's only 7 months, so no popsicles for him yet.
Yeah, maybe not yet. All right, so I'm going to do one more layer of yogurt for the top. So I've got that all made. Got a nice little parfait. You can see it there. And I'm just going to go ahead and take the thin side of the spoon and just stick it right in. And if you're giving this to a kid, it's actually great because the spoon, like head, is going to be used as like the handle for the kids. So that is your parfait pop. All you have to do now is just cover it up with some saran wrap or aluminum foil and stick it in the freezer. You'll probably want it to be in there about at least 6 hours or even overnight, and can be enjoyed the next day, and can also stay in the freezer for a couple of weeks too. And I'm going to show you really quick. I've already got one made.
I don't know if those would stay in my freezer for a couple of weeks. I feel like I'm going to eat them right away.
Definitely, yeah. I'm ready to eat one right now, actually. Here's my parfait pops that I've already made, and they're ready to go.
That looks delicious, and I really cannot wait to try both of these recipes. That chickpea pasta salad with a bunch of fresh veggies that I have, and those parfait pops sound like a really nice like snack, or even like a special treat on a warm day. Do you have any final tips for us before I let you go?
Yeah, definitely. So my last tip for you guys about eating with the seasons is that you should definitely try to help stimulate the economy, especially during these challenging times, by supporting farmers markets if you find any around that are open, and also by purchasing your own seeds to grow your own fruits and vegetables at home. That's all. So thanks, Carmen.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. And before I wrap up today's episode, I wanted to briefly mention how to preserve that fresh summer produce, that fresh summer flavor that you get from locally grown produce. So I know Lindsay mentioned that you can freeze or can produce to enjoy it during the winter months, especially when they're not growing in our area. So if you saw that harvest calendar, there's very minimal things that are growing December through April. So the easiest method to me to preserve fresh produce is to freeze it. So you don't need any special equipment, and it doesn't take very long. So canning is not in my bag of tricks, so to speak, but freezing things is very simple. So one important thing to know is that blanching is a must for almost all vegetables to be frozen. So blanching means putting your vegetables in boiling water or steaming it for a short period of time, which can stop or slow the action of the enzymes that cause loss of nutrients, flavor, color, and texture. So it's also important not to over blanch your produce, because then that can also result in some of the nutrients and the color texture from changing. So softer veggies like peas or like greens like spinach and kale really only need 2 to 3 minutes, while crunchier veggies like carrots, broccoli, and peppers would need anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. So you want to bring a large pot of water to a rolling boil, drop in that washed produce, and just blanch it for the recommended time. Again, it's only 2 to 5 minutes that you want it in that boiling water. And then you want to immediately strain it out and dunk it in a big bowl of ice water to stop that cooking process. So once it's fully cooled, drain it, allow it to dry for a little bit, and then pack it away in plastic bags or storage containers and throw it in your freezer for a few months. So my tip here is don't freeze it in one big clump. Freeze it in portions that you would like to pull out and eat. So you don't want to freeze like a whole pound of spinach, but freeze it into smaller little bags. Another tip is that most fresh fruit doesn't need to be blanched before freezing. Maybe like some of the hardier produce like apples and peaches, but fresh berries, you can just simply freeze them as is. So to freeze something like a fresh raspberry, I usually line a baking sheet with some parchment paper. I spread the clean berries on a single layer on that parchment paper, and then I cover it with plastic wrap and freeze it till solid. And then I can dump all of those berries into one big freezer bag or container, because they're not all stuck together because they've been individually frozen. So then you can kind of just pull out what you need and as you need it, and you can have those fresh summer berries or fresh vegetables all winter long. So you can really enjoy that summer flavor at any time of the year. So I really hope you enjoyed today's show. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, tomorrow is Give STL Day. It's a great time to support our work. We have that $10,000 matching gift. So any amount that you're able to give is doubled. So simply go to givestlday.org/Operation Food Search for some more information. And remember to like our page if you haven't already. And please comment below if you have any questions, if you made today's recipes. We love seeing pictures and comments. And we enjoy that people are enjoying our show. So visit our website to learn more about our work. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all next week with another episode. Stay healthy and happy Wednesday.